happy to be here today so that I can teach you French language. My name is Francois, as you can now easily identify, because I do teach French and I should maybe have that name. As you can now see that we are supposed to be teaching you this language so that you can be able to understand, you can be able to communicate with other people. You can also be able to do your business as you communicate easily with other people in French language. You can also be able to get into tourism industry and so on. So it's very good for you to take this lesson and also learn some French. I know you know so many languages, but because of the world now has become kind of a village, all of us are supposed to be knowing so many languages. Thank you so much, and I'm very happy to be your teacher today. So I just want to introduce the language that you are supposed to learn, and that is called, in French, we say français, and it is written like this. So the language that you are learning now is called français. So French in French is français. So that's the language. And first of all, I think it's better for you to know the reason why you are learning this French, this language, and also for you to understand that after knowing French, actually, you will be able to, as I said, to communicate with people, so many people in the world, and also be able to do your business, be able to interact with other guys, for example, tourists that will be coming from different countries, and not only from France, but also from other African countries. As you know, like in Africa, we have so many countries where French is one of the official languages in those specific countries. So it's very good for you to know French. And after that, you will also see that French is not that much complicated. Many people do think like, oh, French, because when they hear the way it sounds, they think maybe it is a very complicated language. But you will see we actually share, like I do speak French, I do speak English, I do speak Swahili, I do speak other languages. But you will see French is one of the easiest languages that you know maybe. And I will start from telling you that French is currently the second commonly spoken and taught language in the world, after English, of course. And it's very good for you to know how to speak French. It will help you a lot, and it will actually make you, I mean, even those people who are in a career, you know, it will help them to be able to get promotion in their work, for example, something like that. And for those who are still a student, it will help them also to know more about Révolution Française, for example, to also learn much about what happened in our countries, the colonized countries, for example. Apart from that, I will also be teaching you the cultural aspect of it. I will also give you some sceneries and understand clearly about French language. So I'm very happy today. So after that, I will just want to tell you now, we have what we call the alphabet français. And you will see when I will be writing the alphabet français here, the letters, you know, you will just see they are almost this. Actually, they are the same like the English one. And we also have in French 26 letters, the same letters, same order like the way you do have in English. Everything is almost the same. And even we do share so many words together. You will see, for example, when I write something like this, just an example, if I write something like this one, of course, you will just understand this is English, right? But it is French too, right? I can also write something like this. When you see it, you say, oh, this is English. Yeah, it is English. But it is also French. This means we have so many words that we share together. So French and English are almost the same languages. And it's good for you to learn this language. So I just want to tell you now the first topic that maybe we can cover right now, after giving you that brief information or introduction about French. It is want us to talk about alphabet français. So I will write for you here so that we can go together. I am very sure that you are together. I mean, you have your notes, you have your pen, and you are writing something as you are learning together with me. So let me write this first topic here after the introduction. it is what we call alphabet français. So this is the same as you can see, even the spelling itself. Even the spelling itself, as you can see my word, the way it is actually the English spelling, and it is exactly the same in French. Let me show you something, because when I do teach, I'm a teacher, of course. When I teach, so many students do ask me about this thing. Teacher, why should we have this thing here under C? Yes, we have to have it there because the language is supposed to be written in that way. Why? Because if we don't have it, this C will sound like ka. I am very sure in English it is almost the same. When you have an English word, this one sounds ka. But in French, because the language itself is supposed to be français, it's supposed to sound français, so, and it's supposed to be written like this. So for us to have that sound of S, this C is supposed to be given this something down. And this is what we call in French, cedi. So this one, it is giving this C the sound of S instead of K. So if we don't put it there, it will sound franqué, which is not the language we are learning. That's why you are supposed to write that cedi there so that it can sound français. I just wanted you to note from the beginning, because many people can ask, oh, why are you making this to sound français and it is written like franqué or francais, something like that. You should not pronounce it francais, you have to pronounce it français, and it is written like that. It means that this say here, we call it say, of course, in French, it is sound, it has to sound like S, because it has, we have given it this cedi, what we call cedi in French. So for the alphabet français, I will not write all of them here because I've told you actually it's, they are almost, I mean, they are the same letters. The same English alphabet is the same French alphabet. The same order, starting with A, B, C, D until the Z. It is just the same. So in French, you also have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, up to Z. So I will just give you that small exercise. You do it by yourself. You write the alphabet français by yourself, which is the English alphabet. And then from there, we will continue. So I'm actually very happy because today, we'll start with our alphabet français. And this alphabet français, I just want you to write by yourself, as I said, and then we'll pronounce the alphabet français in our next lesson. So from now, I just want you to write that alphabet français, which is the English one, English alphabet. Let me remind you about this. First of all, you have to know how to write French in French. So French in French is français. So you can pronounce together with me, français. Mine, I'm pronouncing here, français. So at home, you also pronounce français. Pronounce again, français. Très bien, very good. So after that, you also have to know the reason why it has to sound français and not francais and not franqué and not other thing, but it has to sound français because it is supposed to be written like that with this C, and we have to give it that cedi so that it can be considered as S. And I'm very sure in English you also have such words. As time goes by, I will show you how these words are almost the same like the English one. So today, for this first lesson, I want you to know that French is one of the commonly spoken and taught language in the world right now. It's actually considered as the second one in English. We, as for example, we are in Africa now. In Africa, there are so many countries that speak French. When you go to those countries, you will find French is one of the official languages in those countries. So many people do interact in French. Business are done in French. Tourists, when they come, they speak French. You know, so it's very important for you to know this language. And apart from that, it is also good for you to know, because when you travel abroad, you know English, of course, you also have to know French, and when you travel abroad, you will not have the language barrier, you know, you will not have the language problem. Why? Because you can communicate in English, and if not, you get into French and you do your business, and you will be a very useful person, a very important person wherever you go. So you will not face a lot of challenges, and I'm very sure that After our lesson, after we'll have covered all lessons, I'm very sure you will be able to speak in French, to interact with people in French, to write in French, to read correctly French, to do so many things in French. So I know you have some knowledge, of course. You know, maybe you learned some French in high school, you learned some French somewhere through internet. It's very, very good. But I want you to note that now, as you continue learning, it is very important for you to get a lot, you know, to discover new vocabularies and learn more about French language. Thank you so much and welcome to our French class. Thank you.